All right, welcome to another edition of the 30-minute marketing hacks with me, Bob Clark. Nice to see everybody here. If you're watching live, watching recording, I do these trainings every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and they go 30 minutes or less on average. Every once in a while, I'll go 5 minutes over, but pretty much to 30 minutes because who needs the fluff, right? Who needs all the extraneous stuff? If I can't train in something in 30 minutes, then there's a problem. So without further ado, the subject for this training is going to be how I work Facebook groups for my business. Right? There's a lot of different ways to use Facebook groups to leverage them for your business. I'm going to tell you mine, and it's not the only way, right? But it's my way, and it's worked for me really well. So I wanted to pass it along to you, kind of show you exactly how I choose groups, what do I do when I get in there, and how do I get engagements so that I get people coming over to my profile to check me out. Does that sound good to you guys? That's something you want to see? Let me know in the chat if that's something you want to hear about, and just give me a yes. All right, thank you, Jane. Awesome. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and let's see, technology here. Okay. All right, so let me get the chat on here. Move it over here. Can you guys see my screen? It should have a title slide here. Can you see my screen? Yes, okay. So what I'm going to do is, so I'm doing all this stuff on Canva. I have fallen in love with Canva, guys. Canva used to me just to be a way to make an image once in a while, right? An image, maybe a thumbnail. I would go to Canva and do that. But now I'm using Canva for so much more in my business. Now I have the pro account, so it is a paid account, but it's not a lot per year. And I'm using it for my entire newsletter that goes out twice a month. I'm doing it all on Canva. I'm delivering it basically Canva and email, and that's it. It's the simplest thing ever. And if you're on my newsletter, if you're getting my newsletter, it goes out again on Sunday. And I'm using it for now that I just created this little presentation. And not only can I just show the slides like this, but I can go in presentation mode. So I'm going to go in presentation mode, and all you do is click the 3 dots up here. I was playing with this afternoon, and you go to present, and boom. Look what it does. It goes widescreen. It's totally cool. So I'm going to present this way, and let me see. There we go. Okay, looks like we're good to go. I can't see the chat right now, so if I'll come back later and answer questions if you have them. But let's get to it. Let me go right to the first slide. All right, how to attract ideal clients using private Facebook groups. Again, I don't charge anything for these lessons, for these 30-minute marketing hacks. All I ask is that if you get value and you know somebody who might get value from these kind of trainings, just share it along, pass it on, pay it forward, if you will, and I would appreciate that. All right. Finding prospects in Facebook groups is probably one of the most misunderstood concepts in organic prospecting. All right, we always say find Facebook groups and get in there and magic will happen. Well, it doesn't always happen, and it takes some work, but if you do it right, it will pay off big time. So it's finding prospects in Facebook groups is a highly leveraged activity, meaning after a while, once you do a little activity, right, you can see a lot of results from it. And it's very much what I was talking about last time. It's a one-to-many communication, right? Where if you post in a good Facebook group where your target market likely is, now you're getting a ton of eyeballs on your posts, much more than you could do on your own profile, right? You can attract your audience in groups already created, right? You don't have to create your own Facebook group, although you can, but you don't have to. So that's a huge time saver. But you can also waste a lot of time if you don't know what you're doing. So that's what I wanted to do today. is kind of show you exactly step by step how I do this. A couple do's and don'ts in private. Now, this is private Facebook groups. Now, keep in mind, there are public groups and private groups on Facebook. The public, I'll be really focusing on private groups. The public Facebook groups, in my experience now, have morphed into something really unrecognizable. I mean, I was in a couple of public groups earlier yesterday, just playing around, and it was like I was in Facebook Marketplace. They were selling things that had nothing to do with anything, nothing to do with the group. People are spamming in there. People are putting porn in there. It's all kinds of terrible stuff in these public groups. So I don't waste time in public groups anymore. You might once in a while find a good public group. So I wouldn't say it's a total waste of time. If you found a good public one, go for it. But I've now really focused all my attention on private Facebook groups. Why? Because they're moderated, right? Somebody is paying attention there. You can't just post. Usually the posts are screened before they're put up. So you have somebody watching, and that's a really big part of it. And there's rules. There's rules in there. You can't do certain things. Okay, so some do's and don'ts. Do be helpful, supportive, show your value, and I'm going to show you how I do some of that. Don't spam your links or BizOps unless the rules say you can do that, because that'll get you kicked out of a group very quickly. Okay, do take your time, meet people gradually, kind of naturally, if you will. Whatever you do, don't get in there and try to poach the group. And by that, I mean, don't go into a private group, and once you're accepted, don't click on the members tab and go friend request every member in the group. You will get tossed out very quickly if you do that, and you'll get blackballed because group owners tend to talk. And if I have somebody who poached my group, I'm going to tell my friends who have Facebook groups, don't let this person in, right? So you don't want to do that. You don't want to get in that situation. So really, there's 3 steps to this process. Number 1 is finding groups in your target market. Now, this can take some time. I'm going to show you how I search for them. But the first ones you find are probably not going to be the ones that you end up liking. And once you get into this, you only really need 2 or 3 groups. You don't need a huge number of groups if you can find some really good ones. So step 1 is finding it. Step 2 is getting known in the groups. And step 3 is posting consistent value. And I'm going to walk you through that process. What do you look for in a Facebook group? And if I'm sorry if you hear my grandson, this is live TV, and he's in the background doing his homework. So you may hear some screaming, depending on how the homework is going. All right, what do you look for? What do I look for in Facebook groups? As I told you, I look for private groups. I look for decent sized groups, I think greater than 500 members. That's not an absolute number. I'm in some groups that are great that are like 400 and 300. Really, it's more in the engagement, the activity. But I definitely look for decent sized groups that have active daily posting. Those are kind of the 3 criteria that I look for. So again, the first steps once I find a group that I think is kind of interesting, I click join the group. I click that tab, join the group. Usually you have to answer some membership questions, and that's a good sign. You want that. You want people getting screened or getting in there. And so answer them the best you can. And then you'll generally have to wait for approval. Once you are approved, and usually it can take minutes up to a day or 2, depending on who the administrators are. Once you are approved, what I do is I will find the admins, and I will message one of them. And I'll show you what that message looks like. But I do that because when I have my own private group, right? And even though I try and be very careful who I let in, sometimes you don't know who they are, especially if Facebook recommends your group. And so sometimes that person is not known to you, and you have to go by a gut feeling. They look decent. You go to their profile, they look okay, but sometimes you don't know. And I've been surprised sometimes. What I found, so group owners are generally on edge about new people. And I found that if you message the admins and just say something like, I'll show you the message I sent, but if you message them and all of a sudden you're kind of off the radar as a possible spammer, right? You're okay, this person is okay, because that message sounds good to me. And so when I get approved, I will generally go in and do an intro post introducing myself, and I'll show you an example of that. For a week or two, I'll get in there and I will support others. I'll answer questions, right? I'll just get into that group about once a week, maybe twice a week, and I'll just scroll and see who's posting what are the questions, taking some notes, seeing what are the questions. If somebody has a question I can answer, I'll try to answer it. Otherwise, I'm just being a good group citizen, right? I'm supporting, cheering them on, congratulating them if it's an accomplishment. If they're having struggling, I'm trying to support them. Just want to get in the group and be a good, I call it a good group citizen, right? Someone who you'd like in your own group. And so I'm going to show you now a series of screenshots of what I do. So let's say, my target market is mostly people who are looking for a part-time or a side business. So if I went into Facebook on the left side over here, right? I could search for anything I want. You could search network marketing, you could search weight loss, you could search, anything related to your company, right? Who is your target market? You find a term, you search in here. Mine is side business. Okay, this came up in the possibilities, right? In the search results. Okay, so look, it's a private group. It's got 1,300 members. Okay. It's about, if I scroll down some more, what I'd find is private, right? Okay. And whoops, went too far. Sorry, guys. Oh, this thing is very sensitive. Look down here. 5 new posts today, 182 posts in the last month. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for an active group. Okay. Now you can't tell who's posting, how the engagement is until you get in there, but this is at least a good indicator that there's something good going on in this group. So I would go ahead and join this group. And when I do, you can find out who the administrators are just by clicking the people or the members tab, and the administrators will pop up. And you can send a message to the administrator. And this is the kind of, I'm sorry, no, this is wrong. This is the first post that I would make. Okay, this is the first post that I would make. So as I said, I would do an intro post. Right. This was what it would be. Something like this. Awesome to meet you all. Hey, everyone, I'm new to the group. Excited to be here. Looking forward to learning from everyone and contributing where I can. Now, if you wanted to, you could also ask a question. Hey, where are y'all from? Hey, how long you been doing this stuff? Something where you're not trying to get people's information. Okay. But this is the kind of intro post, first post that I would do. Okay, I thought I had a slide for my first message, but I must not have. So that first message, I would just, first message to the admins, not sure what happened to that slide, but I would basically just say something like, hey, thanks for letting me in. Appreciate that. I'm really looking forward to being in the group and learning from you guys. If I got that message from a new member as an admin, that would take them off my possible spammer radar, right? And you're more likely to get your post that you put in there approved pretty quickly because their radar, you're not on their radar anymore. You're taken off just by putting a little intro message to the admins. I learned that from Stacy Hall, and it's really served me well. Okay, so what I'm going to show you now is a series of posts that I've done in groups, and I want you to pay attention to the how much engagement they get. All right. So I told you I go in, I create an initial post, right? That intro post I just showed you. I get in there once or twice a week in these groups, and I just support people, love on them, congratulate them, answer any questions I can. So I do that. I'm doing that every week or two. After about a month or so, I will start posting value. And here's the thing with this. You can't create posts that are what I call gotcha posts. So you know how some people will teach that, hey, if you have 5 tips for something, give them 2 or 3, and then ask them to reach out for the other 2 so you can have conversations, right? That's a great strategy for your profile or even a business page. It's not a great it's not a great strategy for a private Facebook group because people know exactly what you're trying to do. You're trying to get their information, right? You're trying, and they will consider that poaching the group. So if I have 3 big mistakes to avoid when building your home business, I'm giving them all 3 tips. And my call to action is not anything more than, it's very soft, right? It's like, if you like this post and if you thought it was helpful, maybe share it around to others who would also find it helpful, right? That's about the extent of my call to action. Very soft in private groups. You don't want to be like, hey, reach out to me, right? Hey, message me. You don't want to do that. And chances are good you will not, your post will not be approved if you do that. But even if it is, it's really frowned on. So this is a picture of my wife and I cutting our retirement cake. And I posted this in this group about 3 weeks after I joined it. And look at this, 21 comments and 25 likes or hearts or whatever. I don't know what you call those things. Okay, so 21 comments. What can you do with those comments? Well, I would continue the conversation in the comments, right? I'd answer the comments, I keep it going. And that's about the extent of it. I would not message people. Now, some people teach message them right from the comments. I do that in my profile. Again, I don't do that in private Facebook groups, at least not right away. Okay. So here's the other thing. If you're in 2 or 3 groups that are similar in, let's say they're all network marketing groups, they're all affiliate marketing groups, they're all weight loss groups. If you create a piece of content that fits all those groups, you can copy and paste them and get more engagement. So I copied and pasted this one into 2 other groups. And for example, so this one got 21 comments at the bottom there. Here's another one where I posted in a similar group, a different group. Look at this engagement. 138 likes or hearts, 44 comments, 8 shares. Wow. This was amazing, right? And all I did was I gave them a few tips about things to avoid when building a business part-time. I know that because that's my thing, right? I know that. Whatever your thing is, you could teach about that. But give it all, right? Give all your tips. Don't hold back 1 or 2, hoping that somebody's going to reach out to you. Not in these private groups. I'm trying to make the distinction there. In your profile, great, do that, right? Have people reach out to you for 2 more tips or whatever. That's a good strategy. But in these private groups, give everything you have. Show your value. Show your leadership. And the thing is, you got to do it consistently. Okay, here's some more examples. I posted this in one of the groups, right? Are you part-time or full-time in your business? Again, these are part-time groups, right? So it makes sense to ask that question. Look at that, 34 comments from that. 34 comments. That's pretty good. Here's another example. What do you tell your team once they've gone through their warm market? 51 comments. See, there you ask a question. So questions are great for getting engagement. And here's another one. And I got this actually, if any of you guys are in my Lead System Pro, MLSP, this comes off their Posting for Profits, the Profile Profits cheat sheet, right? I took a lot of it from there. And I just gave 3 tips for places where you can put your external links without Facebook penalizing you. And I thought it was kind of ho-hum, I didn't think it was that big a deal. And here's the thing, you probably know a lot more than you think you know. You probably know a lot more than other people in marketing and whatever your area of expertise is. But look at this one. This one got 171 likes or hearts and 24 shares. So now everybody's sharing this around and people are seeing my name, right? People are starting to see me. Who's this Bob Clark guy? This was pretty good. This was a pretty good piece of content, right? Be patient with this. Be consistent. So I go into these groups every week or every 2 weeks and I post some more content. And what happens when you do this is that gradually what you're going to see is you're going to start noticing people from this group showing up on your profile, showing up in your messenger, asking you questions. And you'll have seen them in this other group, so you'll know where they're coming from. And now you know your strategy is working. Okay, because now people are coming to you. And once they come to you, now you can do whatever you want. You can have any conversation you want. You can send them anywhere you want because they came to you, and you can never be accused of poaching the group, right? So this strategy works really well. I guess that's the last one. This strategy works really well, but you got to be patient with it. Okay. So again, find your groups, and that may take some time to find groups you like. But once you do, get in these groups, try them out, be a good group citizen. That's all part of it. Put up an intro post, just saying, hey, I'm looking forward to being in here, right? I'm looking forward to learning from all you guys, and maybe I can contribute something. Be humble. You'll get a lot of engagement in that first post, most likely, if it's an active group. Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the stuff here. Hey, Larry, how are you? Hey, Jen, good to see you. All right. So the key to this strategy, guys, it's not a short-term, hey, let's go load up on my Facebook friends kind of strategy. This is a longer-term, let's get seen as a leader in these groups so that people will come to me, migrate over to my profile to check me out. That's what you want. That's all you can ask for. Now, having said that, you're going to want to, like I said, be consistent, meaning the more you show up in these groups, the more people are going to are going to start recognizing you in the groups, and they're going to start seeing you as a leader. Because I'll be honest with you, very few people stick to this strategy. They might get in there and post once, and then they're gone. Or they show up once every 3 or 4 months. That's not going to cut it. If you want to do this strategy, right? Now, do you want to still do other strategies, other organic Facebook strategies to make friends, like adding friends and messaging them? Yes, you still want to do that. But in groups, this is what I do. I don't go in groups to friend request people. Other people do, I don't do it. So you have to decide what's right for you. I can't say it never happens, but I don't usually friend request people from groups. I let them come to me. Because when you do this strategy over time, and you're consistent with it, and you're posting value, and if you're studying marketing, you probably know a lot more than other people know. So just share some of that knowledge. And what you'll see is people start coming to your profile. You'll see it. And then you'll know it's working. All right. Do I have any questions on this? Like I said, this might be a shorter one, but I just wanted to, I had a lot of questions on Facebook groups because there seems to be a lot of confusion about it. So as I said in the beginning, right? If you want to try out public groups, try them out. My experience with public groups has been pretty trashy. They're just not good groups to be in, at least in marketing. I don't know, maybe in other parts of the internet they're better, but at least in marketing, those public groups are pretty trashy. So I've stick to private groups, and I go for a longer term, let's get seen as a leader kind of strategy in these groups. And you can, even if you don't have a lot of stuff going on, a lot of success, a lot of sales going on right now, a lot of leads. You don't need them. You just need to be consistent in your value posting. And if you're in a company like MOSP, for example, where you're learning stuff every week, or you should be learning stuff every week, you can just basically take what you learn that week and put it in groups. Right? So there's your source of information. So again, what I do, I have a DMO, just so you guys know, I have a daily method of operation where I'm adding, I am running ads. So I'm doing some ad maintenance, I'm reviewing my ads. I do some organic increasing of my audience. I email my lists, right? That's pretty much my daily method of operation. But my weekly routine includes once a week getting into these groups and participating. And then usually once every 2 weeks, I'll actually do a post like I just showed you. So it's in my strategy. It's part of my weekly routine. That helpful, guys? Did I present that clearly? I hope I did. Let's see. I want to get some feedback from you guys. Okay, good. Thank you, Jane. Appreciate it. All right. Thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate that. Okay, so yeah. I love Facebook groups. And again, it's a highly leveraged activity because you got a lot of people all in one place who can read your posts and share them and comment on them. And then they're going to come check you out if you're any good. And if you guys are here, you're all good. Believe me, you guys all know enough right now to get in the Facebook groups and be seen, and to be seen as leaders in these groups. All right. Jane says, on average, just ballpark, how much time do you spend in groups? I have about 3 groups that I really like. I spend about 15 minutes a week in each group. By that, I mean that I get in there, I'm commenting, I'm supporting, right? I'm doing that. If I'm posting, I will generally create one post, and I do it. This is what I do. I create a post on my profile, and then I will copy that post and I'll share it into all these other groups, right? The same post. Because why should you create all these different posts? If someone sees your post twice, so what? Right? Hey, Jeff, how are you, sir? Long time no see. If someone sees your post more than once in a group, so what? So I will take that post that I do for my profile, I'll make it a good one. I'll spend some time on it, right? Because it's a value post. And I will then copy that post and put it in my 3 groups. About once every 2 weeks, I do that. Okay, Jane, does that make sense? I think Jane's want to answer that question, right? Yes, yes. Okay. Janice, I was told, not sure who told me that I shouldn't do the same post, so that makes sense what you said. I don't know. I've never had a problem with copying and pasting the same post as long as it's a good post. Now, what I will do, Janice, just so you know, is like if I post the same post in 2 different groups, I might edit that post in the first line. I might say something like, hey, and then I might name the group, right? Hey guys in this group, right? So it seems like it's personalized. So I do edit a little bit, but for the most part, it's the same exact content. So yeah, but I've never had a problem with it. Facebook has never warned me about it. They never have a problem with it. So I wouldn't do it to 50 groups. Okay. Again, in these private groups, you don't need 50 groups. You're not going to benefit by having all these groups. It's too much work. Just find 2 or 3 that you really like being in. They're engaging. There's a lot of people in there. A lot of people are commenting. Different people are posting. Find those kind of groups for your target market. And again, it's going to take a while. It's not going to be like the first time you're going to find all your groups. All right, this is how do you determine which one is good groups? Kind of what I just said. I look for, so a lot of these private groups, you can't tell until you get in there, right? So before I get in, I look for, how many people are in a group, how many posts per day. That gives me an idea. So then once I join a group, I can get in there, and what I'm looking for is I'm looking to make sure that it's not the same person posting every time, like the admin. I've been in groups where it's the same person every single time, and nobody's engaging. Right? There's no comments, there's no anything. And so I move on. That's not a good group. Right? But you don't know that until you get in there. So I look for number of members. I look for the fact that there's posting daily. I like that it's different people posting. And I'm looking to see, are these posts in general getting good engagement? Are people participating in the group? Those are good groups right there. That answer your question, Jennifer? And I just said it like it's easy, but it's not that easy to find these. So it may take you some time. And if you don't like the group, just leave the group. You don't have to stay in the group, leave the group and do another search, look for some more. Eventually you will find your groups. And once you find your groups, periodically look some more, because there's new groups every day. And you might find another group that really fits your criteria as well too. So that's how I do groups. All right, guess what? 7:30, I'm done. 30 minutes. I told you guys, in and out. I love doing that for you guys. So I'm gonna just stop sharing for 1 minute. Let's see if I can. How do I stop sharing? Stop video. This is weird. Isn't this so why I have a Q&A? Okay, I answered Jane's question. No, that's not what I want to do. How do I get it? Oh, there we go. Stop share. It was hiding behind another one. Okay, awesome, guys. Good stuff. Thank you so much for coming. I will have the recording up tomorrow, and that recording will stay on the page for a week. The reason I don't, somebody asked me this, the reason I don't keep recordings on for longer than a week is I want you guys not to get overwhelmed. So if I kept all the recordings listed, someone come in there like, oh my God, I got all these videos to go through, right? If you ever want a recording from something specific, let me know and I'll grab it for you. But in general, I just want people to focus on that week's training. So that's why I do it that way. Does the amount of people in the group matter? Yes and no, right? Engagement's more important, right? Number of posts is more important, but if it's only like 3 or 4 people, probably not worth your time. I would say minimum 50. I like to have them over 500. Okay, but again, it's the engagement that's more important. All right, guys, good stuff. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you next week again. Take care.